Thank you, Tiffany. And we'll hopefully get Doug linked in via Zoom.
Well, and it feels like it takes forever.
So weird.
Is he- is he-
Yeah, that's not a good one.
All right, let me go ahead and call it to order or wait for him to connect via Zoom.
Go for it.
Okay, I'll call to order the June 7th, 2023 Gig Harbor Parks Commission meeting. I'll start with a roll call with myself and work my left. Ben Coronado, Parks Commission.
Louise Keeman, Parks Commission.
Stephanie Lau, Parks Commission.
Justin Timberlake, Parks Commission.
Stace Gordon, Park Commission.
And via phone, we have Doug Smith.
Doug
Say-
Smith, Parks Commission.
There we go. And then Les McCollum's excused and we have our Parks Manager, Jennifer Harrell. And we have a few joining us behind us and online there. So we have enough for quorum. We'll go ahead and move on to the approval of minutes from the May 3rd, 2023 meeting. I'll move to approve the minutes as written.
I'll second the
All
motion.
right. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, Doug. All right, minutes passed as written. And we'll move on to public comment. I do believe we received one public comment through mail. It being submitted, should I go ahead and read it out loud for the record, or is that as submitted, it's in the record?
Tiffany, do you have an opinion on that? It was a letter that was shared with Parks Commission.
Yeah, I believe they just wanted the letter shared with you. I don't believe that they wanted it read on the record.
Okay, and then assuming everybody got an opportunity to read that from our friend Mary Manning. It was regarding the Crescent Creek Park and the visioning process going on for that. I think the overall sentiment of that letter was just a balanced approach to the development of the park and the visioning there, as opposed to having one singular use take over the use of the park. She says she'd appreciate a more balanced approach and not one use overpowering the other. She said that's kind of what's made it unique in all its years there and inclusive. And then other than that, I would like to go ahead and open it up to any public comment. If you have any public comment you'd like to share? Yeah, just go ahead and state your name and.
Yeah, my name is Mike Shipman. I live up in the Finholm district, so I can skate my skateboard all the way down to the Crescent Creek Park. And not get hurt, I hope. And, I have an affinity to that park. I think it's a beautiful place and our families have picnics and stuff like that there. So I have presented some input, and I guess my comment is this, and that is that I appreciate that they're asking for public comment, and recognize that legally they have to do that. Where I have some concerns is that we get park surveys and public comment, and that comment is not even close to being representative of the greater community. Why? Because there's a bunch of people and don't use technologies that presented us. And so decisions could very well be made, but you haven't really received a large majority of input. And there's a lot of people that have some input, I think, if they were given a chance. But they got kids and soccer and, doctor appointments and all this sort of stuff. So my challenge to you and recommendation and request of you is, please find a way to send out to the city taxpayers that are funding these parks versus all the others in the community that get to use the parks, some kind of a survey that goes to their house, okay? And that it offers input from all constituencies, because let's be realistic, the harbor's grown, I think that's great. But many of us who have lived here for 30, 40, 50 years feel left out because we're running to doctors all the time, right? And yet, I gotta tell you, and I'm biased, I'll admit it. I spend time in Arizona in the summer, and the fastest growing sport in the world is pickleball. And people up to the age of 80 can play pickleball. And I've seen people who can't get out of their chair start to play pickleball and their health is drastically improved. So I am worried that we'll build a park that doesn't represent the opportunities for all people. That's what I'm concerned about. So that's what I would ask you to consider. I've tried to stay connected with this issue and I'm really excited about they acquired the property and I got really excited when I saw the picture of the historical building that was 3 stories tall. It was there years ago and I went, well, maybe we don't want to tear that old thing down. And then I thought, well, maybe there's a senior center possibility there because I know we're lacking in that area in the harbor. So I see it's a gem. That park is a gem to this community and I would like to see a diversity of use that's not just baseball fields and soccer fields or whatever it is that the growth of the area is representing they want to see. So that's my public thought.
Did you get, did you have an opportunity to take the survey?
I did, and I sent it to every friend I knew and said, please give your comment, you know, I mean, but there again, how many comments did you get in the survey?
277.
277. There's 12,110 residents in the Gig Harbor area. You didn't get good input, okay? Send
That's
out-
actually considered a pretty good sample.
Yeah, I know you
Yeah.
do, and I'm sorry, I understand the analytics work.
Yeah.
But I would challenge you to try it. Send out a written survey to every taxpayer in the city of Gig Harbor, and I'll bet you'd be shocked at the difference of trend and what people would like to see. And of course, the survey is certainly subject to how people write the survey. Been in the consulting business my whole life, write it too, so. Open-ended questions allow for different opportunities, and it's always majority rules, I get that. And the majority is that there's a lot of people moving to the harbor, but I think there's some people that would love to see some unique opportunities taken advantage of there. It's a beautiful place. It's a great place to have a picnic with your family and play a little bit. So, thank you.
Thank you for coming in and providing. comments.
Sure, thank you.
Appreciate your perspective. And sorry, one thing, there is a very large eclectic group of stakeholders that have been pulled together. How many are in that pool of stakeholders?
12, I think?
Okay, so there's 12 representing very many different uses as well of the community.
Yeah.
In addition to that, to help kind of with the consultant.
And will that information be provided in some of the update and, you know,
As far as what that goes to
for
provide.
the constituencies that are representing the use of that park, other than 200 and some people that
Right.
responded, right? Where's the other 96.32%?
Right.
Okay.
That's
I know, unfortunately, I'm sorry, I don't,
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
center government, we don't.
I
have
know,
percent, so.
I know. So I'm just saying, try something new. Send it-
So the constituencies are neighbors, we have a pickleball representative, we have a biking representative, volleyball. Youth,
Historical.
historic, Parks
The Parks
Commission,
Commission, that's me.
tribe,
Okay.
baseball.
How about the old folks?
There's.
I'm pretty sure that most of who makes up that.
Almost in that front row, so I'm asking that and on behalf of.
We have a good sample
Okay,
of,
so I think you should publish that, because I came here tonight worried about that.
Yeah.
That only a small sampling of the 12,000 taxpayers that live in the community.
we tried to get the representatives from
Yeah.
the elements that are already there,
Yeah,
biking. We have the preschool, president of the preschool is on it.
yeah,
That's
very good.
And, yeah,
And honestly, when you drive by that park, even now, with no development, it's for an old guy who loves his kids and his grandkids. I love seeing youth playing volleyball out there. I love seeing the kids on the BMX thing. But I don't see any old pickleballers.
yeah, we got real early, they're there real early.
Yeah.
And I hate
We
seeing,
had to put up
I hate seeing the baseball field infield.
He's using.
That's a big waste of land. I mean, there's not a lot of use there very often.
I think,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So those are the opportunities I think that are there. So,
Okay. Thank you, I appreciate your time. I'm gonna go
Hi,
ahead and offer you the same opportunity, if you could do your name and address for the record.
Yeah, my name's Josie Emmons Turner. I'm at 9516 Randall Drive. So I'm across the street from her. And then I'm on the Citizens Advisory Committee. And that's why I'm here tonight. I heard about this meeting because someone called me yesterday and said, are you going? I don't have a list of all of the members that are on the committee, but I sort of sent other members that I know to come, and they couldn't. And I know that Jennifer, you sent an email out this afternoon.
I just update them with what I update you guys.
Yeah,
Every month I
Right.
update on all parks
and,
projects.
and so I just came because I wanted to know what the cross pollination was between our committee and you, and so that we can work better in concert with one another. There's lots of different ideas about what the park is. I think what I've heard from most people is people love the park the way it is, and that it's a treasure in the community. So that's what I'm here for tonight, just to find out. And I know that there's been some crossing causes, and that's a good thing. So, but I just want to make sure that what the committee is doing, we're working with you and vice versa. And so, that's the only reason. Somebody said, somebody has to go.
Two representatives that are on both.
Yeah,
We certainly appreciate you coming in.
yeah, and see, I didn't even know from my perspective, and I bet lots of other people didn't know that we did have representatives from the parks, because we only met.
In the initial email that I sent out, it
Right.
had, and then we were gonna meet, every couple of months.
I understand, and I think, how can I say this? I think a lot of people just, people have busy lives and things, people forget things and whatever, and so it's just good that we can have the conversation to know what's going on between us. That's all. So.
And I'd be happy to pick up with you after
Yeah.
you two.
No, I just, so that's the only thing, and I don't want to take time from your meeting, and I don't have an agenda. So, I just, just here. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it. And if there's anybody joining us via phone or Zoom that would like to provide public comment at this time, please raise your hand or press *9 on your keypad, and we'll give you the opportunity as well, if you would like to start with your name and address. I'll give you just a minute there, otherwise we'll move on to our discussion items. All right, seeing none, I'll go ahead and move on to item number 3, or item number 4, sorry, discussion items. Starting with A, the Crescent Creek Park Master Plan update. Go ahead, just kick it right off to you.
So the short version of my update is that it's on hold.
Okay,
So, and I've informed the stakeholder group, the CAC of that, until we figure out the question of the Masonic Lodge.
mhm, okay.
So, as you might be aware, at a study session, they were presented with costs for a bare bones remodel of 1.75 million and a demolition estimate of 262,000. And they wanted to move forward with demolition. So we prepared a resolution, and due to some public comment, they decided to put a decision on that on hold.
Okay,
So we aren't going to have CAC meetings for quite some time.
gotcha.
Yeah,
Did
because there's
the
nothing to report.
Council give any approximation on what kind of time frame we're
So
looking at?
we went back to our consultants and asked for a cost estimate for their services to provide us a more detailed remodel, a more comprehensive remodel, as well as what it would cost to build a new building. About a 2,000 square foot assembly space.
So it sounds like we'll end up with probably, is it 3 different bids, the demo bid, the remodel 1.75 million, and then what we would
More
like it to
substantial,
yeah. make it more usable?
It's kind of difficult because they were like, well, what are you gonna use the building?
Mhm.
So until So we kind of
We have a
were like,
chicken and
keep
egg.
it.
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
And do you want a commercial kitchen or a warming kitchen or no kitchen? Or, bathrooms and elevators and are the spaces connected? So the architect was asking all these questions and we're like,
You're like, make it usable, but we don't know for what.
yeah,
gotcha.
we don't know what.
What's the time frame for that work?
Well, just the cost for their services, their scope and fee, a month.
Oh, so they're gonna give you, update on the cost.
Yes,
of
because
doing
council
that
will need to
work.
approve the costs for them to
They'll
even
have to-
design something.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, because it's not covered in their contract.
Right.
I see.
Right.
Okay,
So is that the same company that did the assessment of the building?
the HPB or,
Reluda Architects,
oh, okay,
they've done a lot of university old building restorations and stuff like that. WSU and Central and UW and,
okay.
yeah. So, yeah, like a lot of architects and stuff. But.
Yeah.
Rich Murakami is our guy.
Gotcha. Okay, so CAC visioning process is on pause until we move forward further with that. And then they come back with a bid and then, so we're probably
In the fall?
realistically, yeah, fallish.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay,
yeah. And then council will also decide, we've had some requests to do a historic structures assessment, which will cost between $35,000 and $60,000. And take,
is that with the new commission coming online to get a baseline or an inventory of those structures?
no, well, I don't know. Yeah,
Okay,
but there had been requests to evaluate it as the historic Masonic Lodge, but then that would prevent major remodels.
oh, yeah, I talk. I see,
It might or
Yeah.
might not. I mean, there is historic repurposing that can be done within a historic building. So it's, I mean, you're basically staying within the footprint and the style and configuration of the building.
okay,
But it has really good bones, honestly. I mean, having walked around in there just recently, I've seen a lot of historic buildings that get saved that you practically push over with one finger. And that building is not in that condition. It is in much better condition than 90% of the buildings that I look at. So
So excuse me, I'm curious, what caused the reconsideration? Because wasn't there almost a decision to demolish it, Jennifer?
Yes,
And so what was the reason that it's now being reconsidered?
that 5 or so citizens asked them not to.
Okay, is there any way to address that issue without going down the path of a detailed study on what restoration could be? Because that would be a costly initiative if indeed the easiest way to address it is to challenge the position. Why don't we just agree with information knowledge we have to demolish it?
Yeah, nobody testified to that effect to council. So that is not a side that they were hearing except from our consultants didn't say that you should demolish it. They just said, here are the costs for.
It's almost like maybe a pros and cons. Here's the value that we
Yeah.
bring to the park if we retained it. Here's, and here are the issues associated with it. Here's the value if we demolished it. Something like that, because I kind of feel like I'm not against doing the necessary work to assess the cost and the effort to restore it. But if really the decision can be made at a higher level without paying that, wouldn't that be an easier path to resolution?
Yeah, well, that's a council decision. So.
Okay. And there's no
Well,
way we can help. Could we help them by putting together that document of kind of pros and cons? Is that possible? Or would that be helpful?
And you as a citizen are allowed to testify as well, not just as a parks commissioner. There's. people
Well,
on
if you don't mind,
committee-
Jennifer, maybe I can talk to you separately, because I'd be happy to try to put something together. I just feel like you're going to get a proposal back in a month for a significant effort to determine what it would cost to restore it. And,
Yeah,
is that money well spent if we really think that demolition is the right answer and we just didn't, or somehow that case wasn't put forward well enough. And I'm not saying one way or the other. I don't have a conclusion either way. I'm just trying to find a faster path to resolution with less effort and money spent.
Appreciate that.
Okay, so
and
I'll reach out to Jennifer separately, and if it's appropriate for me to help as a commissioner or a citizen, however I could be of help to it.
Okay.
I think there's also a bigger question on the table that is, that question, what are you gonna use it for? What does the community want? And if the community is talking about this park and the master plan for the park, the pointed question of, do you want to save this building or do you not want to save this building? And why do you want to save it? Because that is the essential question that's not being asked. If you are going to save it, what are we going to use it for? And if the general consensus is that it's a community gathering space, or it's a preschool, or it's a whatever it is, that to me is the question that is the elephant in the room that's not really truly been asked.
Right. And
I would have
But it-
put the use of the building as absolutely part of the master plan. And that includes as in the master plan, the assessment, as Doug said, of these are the various costs of the various strategies,
Mhm.
right? At some point, if you decide that there should be a building, because there is a use for a building, then you decide if the building you have is the right building, or if it is not, for whatever reason. And part of that's cost, and part of that's the way it's built, and another part is the fact that it's got good bones, right? So you just, I don't think we've figured out what we want the park to be, and that includes that covered space.
Right.
So.
And we get from a lot of neighbors that we don't want it to change, but then also from some of the same people, we want this to be a place where everybody can gather.
But a
And-
gathering facility
Yes.
might be better provided with a new structure too. But I agree, it starts with why do we want a structure? And then what is the best way to provide that structure? And is it through renovation or is it through a new facility? But once again, I don't mean to take up a lot of the time, but I am happy to just reach out if there's, some way it's almost like a terms of reference type of document that lays out kind of the factors to consider within a decision. And because once again, I just hate to see us go down the path of doing a bunch of work that we find to be unnecessary because really that was not the preferred or maybe even the viable option. Anyway.
Yeah, and then with priorities in the pros plan and budget priorities in the city as a whole, with parks and other projects, the council
Yes.
need to decide
Yeah, it
that.
has to fit into the whole.
And
budget.
management of the building as well.
Yes.
Is it a
Indeed.
contract? Is it a lease? Is it city staff? I mean, would we need more city staff? Yeah, those are all questions. Thanks, Doug.
Yeah.
So that is my basic update. on it.
Okay.
If anyone is interested, I have the survey results on, I sent them to everyone, but, I don't know if you wanna, sir, and I don't know if you, Chance, but.
This was the one that came through Survey Monkey, right?
Yeah.
Here's what I found.
Oops, sorry.
Sorry, Siri. Yeah, do you mind, kind of walking?
Yeah,
through real quick?
I think I need to
Some
share it,
results.
so Tiffany and online folks can see it. Let's see.
So while that's coming up, the gentleman that was asking for additional survey information, better coverage, is it practical to give like a pro forma to the members of the committee that are providing input and ask them to go get input from their constituents, whoever they may be? Would that be a more effective way, to solicit some further input, particularly if we're in a bit of a hold pattern at the moment anyway? Just something to think about.
Yeah.
I mean, leverage those folks to go seek and maybe give them an idea, like, would you please get answers to these questions from your constituents? Anyway, just a thought.
No, that's a good point, and we kind of did that with,
Okay.
with the CAC, we sent it and said, please share with your networks. And then we also we have 10,000 people that get our Gigabyte newsletter, we shared it there. We had youth who's a junior at Peninsula High School, who took it to school and got some of their input. So actually what I'm really pleased about is the, hold on, I'll go back to that other data, but the age groups represented. It's pretty, this is really good for a survey. A lot of times they skew older. 50 plus, but this had a really good representation from a lot of everyone was supposed to check a box with how the people in their household, what ages they were. So if you had a family of 4, you check for 4 boxes, or, you know, 1 if you and your husband are in your 40s and yeah, had teenagers or whatever. So that was really impressive, in my opinion. So I'll just quickly go over. So where do you live? 25% can walk or bike to the park. 34 live nearby, but would drive. 34 don't live in city limits, but are frequent visitors to Gig Harbor. And then 8% live or work elsewhere in city limits. So this is a good indicator too, that if some were passed along to, like, you know, maybe pickleball people that live in Tacoma or something that hadn't been here before, but 96% have visited. That's pretty good. So these are kind of interesting master plans, guiding principles. So the orange and the light blue are the kind of fairly important and very important. So sustainable design, ease of maintenance, maintaining natural character, capacity or more variety of activities, and ADA and universal accessibility were kind of the top scorers on that. How important to improve existing programs. This is where we got really high restroom scores. Look at that. The 4th from the bottom. Second was parking. Those are deficiencies that people have mentioned over and over. So, and then we have what else? Picnic area and shelter, playground, sand volleyball. Those were the top importance.
And apparently the BMX people were not represented.
Not so much. Yeah, let's see. So.
And you wonder, Jennifer, on the volleyball, what did they want? Better courts or more courts, you know?
More.
Because that's also a high, you know, fairly strong positive.
Yes, it is. You're right. Sorry, Anna, I missed that. That's, yeah, top 5 or so. And then you can see here, this is a little bit easier to read. Trails, tennis, pickleball, they really mean pickleball. Sand volleyball, restrooms, parking. So those were the top. Yeah, BMX didn't score that well. Educational, baseball, not super high. Or basketball.
All active sports.
Well, and you can't bring a lot of people in there if the parking situation isn't fixed. I mean, I would have said no to the baseball or any big sport purely because there is no place to park. We have played this game ourselves for the 30 years we've lived here with a bunch of kids going through various PAA type programs, and there's no place to park.
Yep.
And if it is parked up with sports people, then you can't take your kids to the park because there's no parking places. And it's a busy street. So
Yep.
the accessibility to the park is an issue.
Yeah.
That park.
We got a lot of those, and there were places to write responses, and I believe I sent those to you. There were separate attachments for each question. I also sent it to the CAC. So we got a lot of responses like that. And it was really interesting to see the different ones. They're just like pickleball, more pickleball.
Yeah.
And then we also got, you know, like, I love this park, how it is. And I would love more parking and restrooms. There's people that don't know that they can park at the Masonic Lodge. It's kind of disjointed. There was a lot of like, let's tie it together. But those are really interesting to read. And you can tell you got a big, good cross section of people because of the variety of responses. Okay, so top scoring for new programs. We have natural play elements. We have multi-purpose sports fields. We have outdoor fitness. and playgrounds for a larger variety of ages. Those are the top, and then the ages. Which is really actually 65 plus is about 25% of our city's population. And under 30 is about 25%, so they might be a little bit overrepresented. Not that I'm guessing a lot of 0 to 5-year-olds filled this survey out, but their families were represented. Okay, and
There's
ethnicity.
Cape Carborough, right?
Yep. And that's it. So, yeah, if you get the chance to peruse those written comments too, those are very interesting, I thought.
And I think the link you sent us, it has the option to kind of filter the survey in different ways you want to manipulate the data a little bit, like you can filter like male versus female responses and stuff like that.
That might be the flash vote,
You're right. You're right, my bad.
which I'll talk about later.
Okay, sorry.
No, it's good. So based on that survey, and then based on the direction that council was moving with the demolition, we had some sort of schematics drawn up, of what could be done with the space. But we're not sharing those at this time because it is on hold.
Fair.
That's the update.
What could be done with the space if the building was torn
Well,
down?
just the whole park, yeah.
Right. But the overall consensus is gonna be looked at the whole park's gonna be looked at holistically as a whole and not
That was
everything but,
plan,
okay.
yeah.
And in the original purchasing of that property, there wasn't like some ultimate, like, this is what it's gonna be used for sentiment in that.
I've been meaning to go back through old city council stuff, but I met an old former city council member who said that they thought they bought it to tear it down.
Okay.
But I don't know the whole story, so I need to.
I didn't say that.
Is that Michael?
Yeah, can.
Oh. Gotcha. Okay, anything else on the update before we move on?
No.
Nope, okay. The sports complex phase 2 and 3 feasibility project update.
Okay, so that's just real brief. Again, we have convened that wasn't as brief as I thought, was it?
You can drag this out.
Yeah.
So next Wednesday, we are having a stakeholder meeting with representatives from sports groups, the YMCA, school district, and the Gig Harbor Peninsula Youth Sports Coalition. And we are having sports representatives from soccer, football, lacrosse, and baseball. And our consultant is working on, they've been out to the site and identified constraints and wetlands and all that stuff, and are trying to fit as many fields onto those sites as they can. So they are going to have 3 different scenarios, and we're going to solicit comments from the stakeholders. And then we will have some proposals to share with the public at large, council, and we'll keep you updated. Probably at the August meeting, we'll have some schematics and stuff to share. So we, in trying to do the field layouts, they gave us in kind of a draft example, and the first thing we're like, there's no parking. So, yeah,
Did they resolve the grading issue? There's something with the grading,
it depends on what they,
what option it is?
yeah, what options they do. If it would mean like a wall or, or stream west of the baseball fields, you can't really expand towards more. So it's a challenge,
Yes.
but
There's a stream west of the field?
yeah, kind of northwest. Ravine of the existing fields currently, like the baseball field.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right. Sorry.
Between that and the housing development.
Okay.
That's Creek Drive.
Yes, there is.
Yeah. Yep.
So
that's
what's
my
the
update on-
status with phase 1?
Oh, phase 1 is, the YMCA is still working on fundraising.
Hmm.
We are going to have to alter their lease to kind of push out the deadlines, but council is considering, they were considering a parks bond to bring to the people, but at a recent study session, they decided not to do that due to recent school tax increases, and the fire department is going out for a bond in August, and if it doesn't pass, they will go again in November. And then just kind of the iffy financial climate, but they are considering doing a council managed bond. So would not be subject to a vote of the people for $2 million to give to phase 1A to help get that up. The Y is struggling a little bit with that, but that would help them get over a fundraising hump and hopefully open the doors for more donations.
Gotcha. What was their total commitment?
The Y,
Yeah,
they're supposed to get 7 million,
7.2,
7.2, 7.8.
7 and a smidge.
Yeah.
I'll be 10 by time.
Right, the longer they wait, the more. it
Yeah.
costs.
Okay,
It's probably not a lack of time.
Oh, no, not at all. It's, but there are like the matching grant type of things at the end of fundraising. It's hard to, you can feel those matching grants are right there. If only you could raise the bit that lets you qualify for the match. And so if the city can help with that, and if all else fails, then that's ridiculously helpful because you're getting 100x on your city investment in those matching grants.
Yeah. So that is what's happening with phase, 1A, 1B is still in permitting. They are hoping it will be out of permitting in the next couple of months. So they're trying to decide if that will, if they want to go out to bid in the fall and then kind of do some initial work and then button it up for the winter, or if they just want to wait till next spring and get it after the wet season. Because, yeah, dirt moving during the winter is not good.
Icky,
30,
muddy. And it runs off into the stream.
yeah. Okay.
I know what I would choose.
It also looks like we're gonna select the park commissioner to represent the stakeholder group. Is that the next Wednesday meeting you're referring to?
Yes,
Okay.
so I had.
It
Let's,
sounded like we had a couple of volunteers through that,
yeah,
maybe.
Doug, Justin, and Les expressed interest in it.
Okay. What kind of meeting? Is it just a one-time meeting type deal, or is there ongoing meeting?
There will
commitments?
probably be 2 to 3 meetings over before, like between now and late fall. So it's not required, but just like with the Crescent Creek, we like to have representation for the Parks Commission if
Right.
possible.
Mhm.
So yeah, Doug, you had mentioned that you were interested in Justin. I don't know if we just,
Well, I mean,
I'd certainly be willing to help. I live close to, I live on Reed. So nearby, I'm very familiar with the area, but whatever role I can best help in, I'm glad to participate.
Doug, if
And
you want
I apologize for eating during the meeting, but it's 7:15 here and I'm hungry, so.
Good.
Doug, you're good with going next Wednesday?
I am.
You are? Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, if you would like to go ahead and represent us at the next meeting, I think. Is there a consensus there? Yeah. Doug?
Good job, Doug.
All right.
Thank you. And somebody will let me know the specifics, I assume.
Yep.
I mean, yeah.
I will do that. I will do that. It'll be at 6:30, so a little bit later than these meetings,
Okay,
but
I can manage it. Thank you.
excellent.
great. Thanks, Doug. And then the parks funding survey, which is, I think I mistakenly.
I think this is the one, yeah.
Yeah, I was
where-
like, oh, you can kind of manipulate it a
Okay.
little bit, the results.
So I will share this as well so that online folks can see. And Tiffany, this is what you sent me.
Analyze, not manipulate, that's changing it.
So do you all have?
Hey, my bad. Analyze.
You would not do that. Hold on, I'm real out of practice with Zoom.
No, go back where you were, go to the bottom of the screen, there you go.
All right.
Yeah, sure.
So Josh wrote up a great memo about it, which was attached to your agenda. So I don't know if you had a chance to read that, but it's basically a summary of this. And this is the type of, this is what Ben is referring to about.
Analyze the data.
Analyze it. You could do people that live in city limits, owner, non-order, age, gender, all of that, but I think it's easiest at all responses. But, so this was the question about a proposed parks bond. And I think this helped guide council's decision not to run one a little bit. But these are questions. Are any of you signed up for a flash vote?
I thought I
Yes.
was, but I'm not, but I don't get up.
Oh, interesting.
Probably gonna do it.
Yeah, we can send a link to sign up.
I think I need that too. I think I tried and then it didn't
Good
come.
work. Interesting. Okay. But yeah, we got about the same number of participants in this as we did for the Crescent Creek one. It was that was Survey Monkey. This is called Flash Votes, and the city has a certain number of surveys a year that we're paying for, and they're quick. Usually open for 48 hours. So. However, one flaw with this is it seems the 0 to 30 or under 30 demographic is not represented at all. They do not take these surveys. And almost, I think it was half or more are over 65. So it's a little bit skewed as far as demographics. But so these are the questions considering replacement. The highest scoring projects were developing a senior center or community center and converting the existing Little League fields to turf, which is phase 2 of the sports complex, with a playground at the skate park coming in third. Which of these other possible projects would you be willing to pay for? Huge support for creating a trail connecting the Cushman Trail to downtown through Donkey Creek Park. So that would be through our new conservation areas. Just, yeah, a connector trail. So that is the only one that scored what would need to be a bond, because bonds are 60%. So nothing else came close, but, and we threw in the Wilkinson barn there too, and that was the lowest scoring. Let's see. Overall level of funding for city parks. There was good support, well, 32% extending the levy. 22% to increase it. 10% let it expire. So one of those word clouds, there you go. And then these. I always find it interesting to read the written comments. So, and it's all anonymous, but there's everything from boating, senior center, labeling tree species, no funding for fields. We have to build the fields. Expand the piers, do not expand the piers. I mean, government is fun.
Yes, it is.
12,000 people to be exact.
Yes.
You're gonna 12,000 opinions.
Oh, yeah, totally. Same with Crescent Creek Park. Pickleball everywhere. Absolutely no pickleball. I mean, it's just. Yes. Not touch Soundview Forest.
Yeah, I saw that.
There was a little,
Yeah.
the question was confusing. I think a lot of people didn't know that we own
The house there.
the house there,
Yeah.
next to the.
They thought they're
forest.
gonna cut down trees and build a
Yes.
senior center.
So we think that might have been underrepresented because people thought that. But also, Henmet Parks is doing a feasibility study for a senior center as we speak, and they're wrapping it up next month. So we aren't gonna go forward with planning for that until we figure out what they're gonna do Like, I mean, I know that we're different tax bases and stuff, but we all share.
Yeah.
You know, people don't stop at the
Yeah.
border.
Same
Please
stuff.
tear down the Masonic Lodge, please save the lodge.
What is a foot ferry?
Yeah, I want the ferry. That's a great idea.
Oh,
That's what we need.
It
The,
Point
says
Ruston.
yeah, from Maritime Pier to Point Ruston.
subsidize a foot ferry.
Foot ferries mean walk on only, not cars on the ferry.
Right.
So they used to have that in the mosquito fleet, that you had many foot ferries where you just walked on and it took you to Vashon or took you to Tacoma or took you to Fox Island.
Hmm.
There were many scurrying around. It's one of the great historical bits, but those little ferries have essentially disappeared. But
We're back.
could
Sounds
they,
like a neat idea. but-
yeah, can they happen? They could, it's just money.
Mhm.
There was a proposal by the tribe to do an electric foot ferry
Mm.
between downtown Tacoma and over here to Gig Harbor, which I think is a great idea.
I do too.
I think that would
That'd
be
be
awesome. if we could see it happen.
I don't, yeah, it won't happen this summer, but it's not, it could
In the
still
realm.
happen, yeah.
Well, and with regard to the boat launch comments, which I noticed as well. So in Penmet Land on opening day of fishing season, which was this last Thursday, we launched over 800 boats between the minute it opened at 4 AM to 6 AM, 800 boats in 2 hours. Because there
Wait,
is
where was that? At
at the Point Defiance Boatyard.
Yeah,
Boat
Wow.
launch by the Vashon Ferry there.
and that's a big one.
And,
It's a lot of
and,
pressure for backing up trailers.
actually.
Yeah, and that's, I was gonna say the challenge with a boat ramp is parking for the trailers.
Yes,
That's-
and
always-
the parking lot was full before it opened. We had sold out of parking places at 3:45 AM. We did take time lapse video of both the boat launch and how it looking towards the point where they were all fishing. But my point of that is that the demand for being able to put your boat in the water and go fishing with little boats, not boats that are at a marina, is high. And so, and you can't do it from here, and there's the gas issue as well. Because the only local gas is at the boathouse at Penmet, or at Metropolitan Parks. Getting all my parks districts confused, sorry about that. So, I think there is some demand there, or could be, you just have to figure out if you build it, they will come or not. But I sort of agree with the general comment that for a maritime city, we don't have a ton of, there are some holes in what we offer as a maritime city.
Yeah.
I do think that in general, if you build it, they will come, because people who need to launch boats will find where the boat launch is. But the challenge is putting it anywhere that's built up because of all the parking requirements that come along with it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can see some of the comments, like, we need more fields, stop building fields. So. Increasing walkability. Don't touch the forest, yeah, that was. Parking,
Well, maybe, but the bigger issue is getting transportation to the parks that doesn't require having someone to drive the car.
Yes. Right, the
Trolley.
the trolley. We've used it. It comes more or less behind the house here at City Hall, and we can get on a number of places we want to go without having to get in the car.
I think it starts July 1st or something,
I think so.
yeah.
We wish it went longer.
Yeah, or stop spending money on parks and build a downtown parking facility. That's one of the savings. Orchard Fields. 9 million for the boat shop. Do Label the trees. Anyway, these are very interesting, but. Aquatic center. More pickleball. No more parks, more park projects. More parks, less ball fields. So,
I think it's gonna feel different for our greater community as the community rec center is built at the driving range, right? It's gonna, and phase 1B gets done. I mean, it feels different at some point because people don't recognize the difference between a city park and PennMet parks. So having the CRC with indoor walking things, the extension of the Cushman Trail and fields and fun pickleball. So needs keep getting met through these projects.
Yeah.
So it'll feel like the whole community has more of some of the things they're asking for there.
yeah, there's.
It's still important to work in.
Pickleball courts coming online
Yeah,
soon.
it's important to work in unison with PennMet, just kind of filling the community needs.
Yeah,
Like you said, waiting on, after
Yeah.
the feasibility studies finalized, figure out where they're going with that,
right,
planning our things with them,
yes.
to fill those community needs.
Excuse me, guys. I apologize. I need to go someplace else at 7:30 my time. So I'm going to cut out, but thank you very much for tolerating my my video contributions.
Thank you, Doug.
And Jennifer, I'll be in touch with you. Thank you.
Yeah, don't forget Wednesday.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
Yep. But yeah, so to bring back to item C, the city council, based on the survey, decided not to move forward with the parks bond and that extending the bond, but there was talk of a potential councilman bond.
Yes,
Gotcha.
for the fields.
For the return from the field specifically,
No,
the
the new
phase-
fields.
For
the new field,
one,
for-
phase 1.
to contribute to the YMCA
Yeah.
funding goals. Gotcha. That's right. Okay. Okay. Staff reports. Unless there's any other questions? No? Okay, staff reports, Parks Division update. Back to Jen.
I kind of hit on the big ones, but, yeah, we're dealing with grant billing for phase 1B. Still working on finding a surveyor for our annexations of the Crescent Creek parcels and Lighthouse. Like a lot of agreements, we renewed the lease for the preschool and the Sonic Lodge, or we're going to. That will go to council next week,
Is that a year-to-year lease then?
expire June 30th of next year. Yeah,
What are the conditions of that lease? Like, does it have, I mean,
we added $1 million about how to clean up lead
oh.
Oh,
Lovely.
based on the
Yeah.
reports, thousands of dollars of reports that we've gotten on that.
But I mean, do they pay $1 like some of the?
Oh, no, they
other
pay
ones that they pay?
$1,515 or something like
Oh,
that a month, and they pay less in the summer.
yeah,
I believe it's 300, 1,500, yeah, they pay.
but that's the building and part of the parcel.
Yeah, that play area. Yeah, and we're working on, with the fisherman home port. Working on comparing what mortgage costs at other places, similar places, and agreements like that to bring forward to council to consider. We're gonna put up some signs at the volleyball courts at Crescent Creek. One of the neighbors says that the kids play music too loud.
kids do
So,
that.
huh?
I said kids do that.
They do, so we're gonna put up signs about the noise
It's not all
around it.
just kids either.
Fair, fair.
It is a popular place.
Kids, you 35-year-old kid. you
Yeah.
65-year-old kid.
Great, yeah.
We all
Yeah, that's kind of it. I'm gonna be, out of town for a couple of weeks at the end of this month and beginning of July, part of why I pushed for canceling the July 5th meeting, but also it's July 5th.
have. Yeah.
You don't want to compare July 5th. So
Great. Thanks, Jen. Any other pressing questions on parks?
I have
Something exciting we get?
So with the change in thought about the Parks Fund, does that mean Wilkinson Barn is pushed down the road again?
Sounds like it.
I think with the historic commission coming online, though, I think there's a potential for that to kind of gain some traction again here shortly. Yeah. Yeah, cause yeah, seeing that thing just stand there. It looks nice, but yeah, I feel like there's more that could be done with that. Yeah, I don't know if that's like combining with
Well,
the,
and I think that is an important point to stress here is that when you're looking at a historic structure like that, you can say, do you want to save it or do you want to tear it down? And that's a tough question because what are you gonna save it for? And so if you put that question out to the community and say, do you want to save it for public access or do you want to save it for, a kid's preschool or, what that purpose might be, an exhibition center, a visitor, whatever it is, I don't know. But if you say with a specific intention, I think you get a lot better data and response than if you just say, do you want to tear it down or keep it?
make it like open-ended, almost like that,
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and I think we might do that, coming up on the Masonic Lodge, which we have a better idea of costs
Mhm.
for some of the stuff too.
Yeah.
To see.
Well, I know,
what the
even
public
with like
thinks.
Union Station in Tacoma years ago, there was a whole bunch of people that wanted to tear that thing down, and there was a whole bunch of people that started SOS, and when the federal courts got involved and said, we want it for a federal courthouse, that was a game changer, and so, it was pretty darn close to being demolished. And it's a beautiful building, and I'm glad it wasn't.
What do you think should be done with the barn?
Well, first, I think that the collection that's in it needs to be assessed, because there's a bunch of farm equipment that's actually in there that we can't even get to because we can't go inside of it. And so the stability question of the barn and the collection, what to do with that collection, I think is a first immediate question. I think it would be a great, meeting community gathering space. It's a big old barn. But I know there are historic preservation issues, particularly with that building, because the inside and the outside are identified as structural components that need to be reserved. And it was a cow barn. So you'd have to be pretty clever about how you use that downstairs to retain some of that flavor of the cow barn. I think you can make a cool tap room. So, yeah, there could be definitely. some
And
fun.
yeah, to open it up to the public, we also need to do something with the site about parking,
Yeah,
because that is very limited.
yeah.
So,
And there was, also someone talked to me about having a bicycle shop in the bottom of the barn, because you're right there by the Cushing Trail. People can get their bikes fixed and get out on the trail. I think that's another interesting idea. Or a community bike shop, there's actually quite a number of nonprofit bike shops these days where they're working with veterans to learn to fix bikes and then get them back out on the trail. So I think there's lots of ideas.
Yeah, there's no shortage of ideas, that
Yeah,
for sure.
and possibilities that are actually feasible.
Yeah,
But it's, getting the people behind it to make it happen.
yeah.
yeah, and the budget behind it.
Yeah.
Make it happen,
Yeah,
so,
definitely.
yeah.
Well, and that's
What-
something
which-
I've learned about fundraising for historic structures is that if you know what you want to do with it and the reasons why that use is related and important, you can make the case to get the funds to get it done.
Mhm.
But if you don't have that storyline scoped out and nailed down, it's gonna be like,
You're gonna end up with a 4.9%.
Yeah, exactly. But if people can see themselves using it and interacting with it, it changes it completely. A lot of people can see themselves on a sports field or on a pickleball court or on a volleyball court or walking on natural trails. But they have a hard time figuring out what their personal involvement would be with the historic structure until that
Without that
that
vision or
use
whatever.
is
Yeah.
is portrayed, yeah.
Thanks, appreciate that. Okay. Move on to item B, the city administration update, with Tiffany, anything to provide us with? Or we'll save that for next time.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Josh did not mention that to me, so I think we'll have to push it back.
Appreciate that. Commissioner reports and comments. I think, both of you are serving on the CAC one, but that's on pause, so I guess not too much report besides that. Okay. Other than that, I don't think we have, no.
How is do we know how the lottery for Ansich is going for the public?
Oh, I haven't had an update on that yet.
So they just, it opened a week ago, right?
Yeah.
So I would be
Okay.
interested to know how round 2 is going.
I will ask that. I know this is the more popular half of the
Yes.
year
Mhm.
by far.
Did we get to capacity on the last season?
No,
No,
Okay.
but close. It was, they had room for 6 more kayaks. Ish. And Jennifer kindly let the Metro Parks Boathouse guy, we want to redo a historic building to turn it into a kayak center as well.
I don't feel
And,
lost.
no, between Owens Beach and the boathouse. And so we were looking to see how they did the storage and how they did the contracts and all of that. And Jennifer spent some time with Cecil, which I appreciated. That was nice.
you knew more about it than I did, so.
Yes, it's hard not.
Well, I can't get into the building. So, but anyway, it was, so being in there, right, and there were a few spaces, but there were not a lot of spaces.
Yeah,
And I'm sure that it will, well, I'm very hopeful that it will be at capacity for the summer,
and it was last year.
but I would like to see how many, what the true demand is, because then we can look at pricing too.
Yeah, that's a good point. Well, I will try to find out how that's going and let you know. If I find out.
And I will remind my son to get his application in.
Yes. And one issue they had, because it ends at the end of the year, is getting people to come and get them.
Yes,
yeah.
Right, do they have lost, like left?
they did.
They have
Boats.
lottery of leftover books.
Yeah, but you gotta, the rules are you have
Process,
to
isn't it?
hold them for a period of time. And what they wanted was for all the boats to be out for the week and then they could pressure wash and we kind of spray anti-mold stuff and all of that in a damp winter environment. And then again, in the summer, get all the boats out as the term ends, wash it all down before we start the summer season. So that's, but not all the boats, people were not responsive.
Yeah.
A few people.
A few people got emailed multiple times and
Is
then.
that on
they-
you?
Well, no, Scott Keelan.
Okay.
Scott, and then Kyle, Neiman and his guys were the ones that cleaned it out, but, when they were. You know, we have to figure out a system, so when they're like left, if they have a lease that's starting again. You know, Kyle said he doesn't care,
Right,
as long
they
as he
can
knows which
stay.
boat those are, they can move them around and clean
Oh.
and put them back where they belong. But, there were people that are like, oh, no, I'm in Arizona. So I can't get my boat, or they just ignored them. It's like, well, they sent you 4 emails.
Right.
And so what they ended up doing is bringing them to the shop, and I think most of them eventually got claimed, but it took
Maybe
months.
some sort of penalty or something. to
Yeah,
pick up.
so we were talking about,
Lottery again.
Yeah, or not be in the lottery again.
yeah,
Yeah, they got a rule, you have to play,
right, so those are some of the kinks were,
work it through. Okay,
yeah.
good to know. Okay.
One more,
Yeah,
one
go
more
ahead.
question on the Cushman Trail connector. I mean, I've walked that property, but is there any current vision of where that trail might go?
Yes,
It's like wrapping around the north side of the wastewater treatment facility.
No.
I will show you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
You bet.
All right.
Sorry, you can see all my.
Oh, that was my question to you, kind of on combinations. Did the city council come up with a final name for that?
Yes.
Walcott Conservation Area.
They used one word from each of our recommendations.
Yeah, yeah. They were torn as we were.
Oh, and wasn't it at Donkey Creek Park?
Oh, did they give it the kind of,
Or did
At the
they
name
not-
place?
did
They
mix
nixed
up?
that.
Oh, okay.
okay,
Yeah,
Because.
yeah, the final was Twawaka Conservation Area.
it was, okay.
Okay, so this is part of our application for phase 4 that I highlighted. thing. I told you about that a
Yeah.
few months ago, right? Yeah.
Yes.
So we submitted that application last month. So we are waiting to hear if we will get funded from Conservation Futures. So anyway, the yellow trail is existing. Where's my cursor? There it is. Okay. That is already there. And so this has been GPSed, so it's pretty accurate. This purple dash one is kind of the general proposal for the connector. It's pretty steep.
Very steep.
That's the highest part of the entire trail.
Yeah.
However, without having to build a bridge, this is kind of where it would come out. And then we are working on replacing this culvert with a bridge, like over here.
Daylight it.
Yeah, similar to that. And so it would have a trail connection under the bridge.
That'd be cool.
Oh, kind of like it's already in place on the other side.
Mhm.
Very cool.
And I think it's not proposed to be paved at the moment, but it's not budgeted at all either. But it would be a nice wide.
So you said phase 4 or 5, 4 was applied for. And the reference to the purple and black dash line.
Oh.
That was,
A possible potential trip.
oh, okay, so not an existing.
No, not existing.
Right.
So they score higher if you do allow public access, and that would be a permitted trail. Would not be
Yeah.
paved at all.
Yeah.
So.
And then the lower one is the connector
Yeah,
to Cushman.
Right.
yeah. Proposed connector.
And the black and yellow.
It
line,
says potential spur trail. I am not sure
like a
exactly where
little
that
loop.
came from,
Gotcha.
but
Yeah, there are a couple of funky loops in there. that-
Is there?
Yeah.
Well-
But yeah, that lower purple one is going up by the sewage treatment plant is very, very steep, but if you, maybe it goes right along the ridge there or something. Cause the creek drops off really steep from that trail down, I mean, there's a very steep ravine down into there.
yeah. But that would be pretty cool if we could get this property.
Yeah,
Like, for a city of this size to have that much acreage
all
for
contiguous, yeah.
Yeah.
by a stream,
That
it's
is
pretty awesome.
It's pretty awesome.
So we'll see. Great Peninsula is leading that effort. And so all we're really put into it so far is some staff time, like Mike made this map. I've like done a little back and forth stuff with Ally and GPC, but anyway. And that, this is all now called Tualaca Conservation Area.
Good to know. Okay. No, I mean, we can go all night. You're right, no.
Till 7.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to
Oh,
adjourn
right.
today's meeting.
I'll
Second.
Stephanie seconds, all in favor? Aye. All right, adjourn, thank you.
Thank you, Tiffany.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm sorry. We had trouble there.